I think it was part of me not wanting to be hurt again, not go through a relationship that might not work, and just being that person that did come out of a marriage and divorce and it wasn't pretty. I was like, I never want to even put myself in a situation where that could possibly happen again. So I will say in my dating experience that I wasn't ever in a relationship that I looked to be a marriage, because in my mind I was never getting married again. So I probably sabotaged myself, as far as who I was picking and the time and energy I was giving, because I already knew, like, I'm not going to marry you. I'm not going to be with you like that. So maybe I had boundaries already.
Finally, speaking out about what fans have been speculating about, Shaunie O'Neal has been quiet for a while. Her marriage to Pastor Keon Henderson appeared to be a dream from the outside. He is a prosperous, devout man, and their wedding resembled a scene from a movie. Was everything merely for show, though? The situation wasn't as flawless behind the scenes as it appeared. At last, what did Shaunie confess? Let's return to the beginning. It has always been easy for Shaunie O'Neal to maintain her reputation. She was a boss in her own right and played the game well from the first time she entered the spotlight. She wasn't just Shaquille O'Neal's ex. As the creator of Basketball Wives, she established herself in the entertainment industry by transforming the drama of NBA relationships into a must-watch on television. She demonstrated that she was independent by creating her own empire and making her own money. And Shaq was the subject of her well-publicized breakup. Shaunie fell in love once more, but this time she was with someone entirely different. She fell in love with Keon Henderson, a charismatic pastor renowned for his strong leadership and stirring sermons. Keon was not just any preacher. He was the leader of one of Houston's most powerful churches and had a sizable following. He seemed like the ideal fit for Shaunie and was a devout man. Keon was always making sure that everyone knew how much he loved his wife and talked candidly about faith, love, and commitment. Their romance was soon in full swing after they clicked right away, and their story felt like something from a movie. After proposing to Shaunie on a romantic beach in 2021 and giving her a gorgeous 4.22 carat diamond ring, they had an amazing wedding in Anguilla the following year, with candles in the aisles, flowers all over the place, and a memorable backdrop. It was a veritable fairy tale. To celebrate what appeared to be the start of a wonderful future, friends and family came together. However, as they say, not everything that shines is gold. Despite their apparent harmony, problems soon surfaced, and they weren't just the typical rumors of a celebrity marriage. People in the church community started to speculate about Keon's loyalty because of his large following. Some even said he had a wandering eye, and others whispered that women in his congregation were approaching him too closely. The question still stood. Was there any truth to it, or was it just rumors? When the rumors first started, Shaunie ignored them and supported Keon, dismissing the criticism. She was used to being scrutinized by the public, particularly when she was married to Shaq. Fans weren't convinced, though, and they began to notice changes in her social media behavior as she remained focused on their relationship and made it apparent she wasn't concerned. When she first started, she was all about sharing adorable couple pictures, heartfelt captions, and posts showing her gratitude for Keon. The couple's posts became less frequent after that, and she stopped leaving as many comments on his photos. Her cryptic messages about self-improvement and prioritizing herself soon followed. As soon as they noticed the change, fans began to speculate that she might be implying that things weren't as ideal as they appeared. After that, there was a significant turning point that prevented her from ignoring the whispers any longer. After years of ignoring the whispers and believing they were merely unfounded rumors, every story like this has a turning point or breaking point. And for Shaunie, that moment came in a way she never anticipated. Was the communication leaked? Was it something she witnessed firsthand? Or was it a trusted friend finally telling her the truth? Although insiders claim that something large fell in her lap, no one is certain what caused it. She was unable to ignore it any longer. Perhaps it was an inappropriate text exchange. Perhaps a call with proof came in late at night. Perhaps Keon made a mistake that was impenetrable, but it still struck her hard. It must have been heartbreaking to realize. Imagine having your sense of peace torn away in an instant after you thought you had finally found it. Not just any woman, Shaunie had already experienced heartbreak in the public eye. Reliving the entire experience was the last thing she wanted, but this time reality was forcing her to face the truth rather than the tabloid revealing her suffering. In private, she was struggling with silent tears, restless nights, and the crushing weight of betrayal, but in public, she maintained her composure. This wasn't just about her, though. Keon was a pastor who was respected and looked up to. Her world would be rocked if she revealed the truth, as would his entire congregation. And just when she thought things couldn't get any worse, the truth struck even more forcefully. Shaunie may have initially tried to talk sense into her head, believing that she could make things better, but there's only so much one can ignore before the truth becomes unavoidable. It wasn't just one thing. The more she searched, the more she discovered. More messages, more contradictions, more moments that caused her to doubt everything, and, worst of all, other people speaking. Her loved ones began to hint that perhaps, just possibly, she ought to stop assuming the worst about Keon. You always know in your heart that things will never be the same again after that one particular moment. She may have realized that a broken trust takes time to mend after confronting Keon and witnessing his response. Or she may have asked herself, is this really what I deserve? As she looked in the mirror. She knew it was time to let go of the fairy tale that had vanished, and that was it. What did Shaunie do then when she finally lost it? Was she speaking to Keon directly? If she did, what was the outcome of that discussion? When Shaunie made the decision to confront Keon head-on, it was the moment of truth. She wasn't the kind to back down, especially when her life was on the line. Insiders say the discussion was heated. Shaunie didn't arrive with wild accusations, but rather with facts. She had seen the proof and couldn't dispute it. Keon initially had little to say, but as the conversation progressed, the crack began to show. Shaunie, it seems, asked the difficult questions. Shaunie's goal was to hear the truth, no matter how unpleasant it was, not to receive an apology. Then what did she do? Did she ultimately decide to leave for good, or did she stay and try to resolve the situation? Shaunie wasn't the kind to let things drag on, according to people familiar with the situation. Shaunie made her own choice. Conserving her dignity was more important to her than preserving her family. She took charge of her own destiny, rather than giving Keon an ultimatum. She may have even investigated her legal options, including separation, divorce, or other options, according to some reports. One thing was certain, she would not allow this betrayal to define who she was. She would not allow Keon to continue to dictate her destiny. Shaunie had a difficult journey, but what's most inspiring is how she overcame heartbreak. After years of being in the spotlight and experiencing both highs and lows, she finally took charge of her life at this point. Her experience is now being used to assist others. She has always been viewed by her admirers and followers as a strong woman, and she is exemplifying what it means to be resilient. Instead of focusing on the suffering, she uses her voice to support people going through similar things. And let's not forget, Shaunie didn't simply recover from this, she came back stronger. She is still establishing her brand, managing her businesses, and living her life as she sees fit. She has demonstrated to the world that as long as you don't allow it to stop you, no obstacle is too great. The main query that everyone is now asking is, where is Shaunie at this point? Is she moving on, or is her marriage still in danger of failing? Since everything started, Shaunie has made it apparent that she is a different person who is more concerned with her work, her kids, and her own development. She has discussed her journey's lessons and how she has discovered more about herself than she ever imagined in recent interviews. Is her relationship with Keon officially over? It certainly appears that way. She has been seen having fun without him, taking care of herself, and demonstrating to her followers that the best kind of love is self-love. Her advice is straightforward. Never settle, always prioritize your happiness and recognize your value. To say the least, fans have been outspoken. Shaunie deserves better. You can't build a happy life on lies, someone commented. Additionally, when she stopped posting about him, I realized something wasn't right. Women are always aware when it's time to leave. These men of God are sometimes the biggest frauds, a third party wrote. I'm glad Shaunie chose herself. One thing is certain, regardless of one's position on the specifics, Shaunie's story has had an influence. Though this isn't just a tale of treachery, it's also about regaining your strength and persevering through difficult times. She has started a discussion about loyalty, trust, and the value of putting yourself first. Her story serves as a reminder to viewers that sometimes the most difficult decisions result in the greatest freedom. How will Keon react? Time will tell, but one thing is certain, Shaunie O'Neal isn't the kind to keep quiet. No matter what she does next, people will be watching. Close.